Okay, Acoustica 6.6 has been released, only just recently this morning. I had a quick look at 6.5 last night, and the calculations to me look like completely off. I'm assuming this is why 6.6 was released. Not too sure about that, but I'm going to go through, like, I haven't seen 6.6 before, so I'm just going to go. I thought, you know what, I'll make a video about it and just see like what it's about, and like have a discussion about like the updates and where they're going, and things like that. Hopefully this will be a lot shorter video than my previous videos. When I get going, I just like forget what time it is and things like that, so that's going to take a little while to download or to check for viruses. Let's see what's been updated here. Oh, this is going to lag now, so yes, download anyway. So 6.6, I always look at the logs because I need to, like, I'm a fiend for that. I need to like see what's going on, like what the general thought process is from like OCA. Resolved another bug affecting subwoofer alignment and filters for systems with 3 or more subs. Users with 3 or more subs connected to an AVR rather than the MINI-DSP should notice improvement in bass response. Acoustica now appears to be free of major bugs. Ooh, that's a bold statement. We shall see. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen anywhere in these notes that the changes from 6.4 to 6.5 have like fixed a bug, because I didn't test anything last night. I just ran an EQ and it looked bad. Like even the calculations were bad. So maybe that was just a bug. All right, so extract all. Okay, so real quick, let's delete this. So yeah, I've been going like a fiend on testing some of these things, as you can see here. So when I test, I really like go for it and see what sounds that I liked or I like, and how crossovers affect the sound and things go into subwoofers. So obviously the locked 80 Hertz for me is the go-to. I've been testing 90 Hertz, 100, 110, 120, 150, 200, 250, how they affect sound. As soon as you get to 90, there is potential for already to localize bass in the subs. So, you know, at 120 you can localize the bass easily in the subs, and at these higher frequencies you can. So, but you can try stuff as well, like the dynamic type of one, where you still lock in, but you lock in at say 80 Hertz as the low point, because why would you want anything below 80 Hertz going to your speakers? There's never a point. There's never a single point where you would ever want that to happen, because your subwoofers are better than your speakers, right? So there's just no point for me to do that. The quality of bass that I get from my subs versus my speakers, even though my speakers are like SVS Prime Pinnacles, they're $5,000 speakers. They're not as good as my subs. As soon as you get into that really deep range of 80 Hertz and below, these speakers have no chance against these subs. These THX monolith subs, there's no chance. I just don't see the point in it. I really don't. Plus, if anything, it's putting more stress on your receiver, because you're dealing now with deep frequencies as well. So you give yourself back so much more headroom as well, even on your receiver, by at least locking at 80 Hertz and then allowing the system to maybe to control up to around 120 Hertz for some people. I wouldn't do it still, but I would say that for me, I think 80 Hertz should be the actual minimum before you start crossing over into the sub on some of these channels. Because I hear people like complaining or saying in the group that hey, my speakers are crossing over at 60 hertz, and then other people are crossing over at 40. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. But hey, that's just me. I do have strong opinions about this, and it's just because I'm chasing a sound that I prefer. As soon as I localize the bass, that's it. It's done for me. All right, so this is I guess you could say this is a brand new installation. So let's do this. Even though you can copy, I just run this every time. Ooh, my Denon receiver downstairs is on, so number 2. Yes. Oh, is that it? Yeah, just check. Yeah, that's it. And then we're ready to go. So, yeah, the goal here is really just to check to see like what is going on with Acoustica updates, and are we having any issues with it? So, Butterworth 12 dB per octave high pass filter added, basically for sealed subs. Okay. Yeah, I want to see some calculations here in REW, because what I saw last night on 6.5 did not look good. So let's see. All right, so start optimization. Yes. I just want to go through with this again with you, because a lot has changed with 6.4 and above. 6.4 and above has basically put a system in place that is, you could say, is monitoring your performance of your actual subs, like truly monitoring them. And I've seen some complaints that I'm only using, say, a single sub on the group, and it's crossing over the detected performance of that subwoofer is at like something like 40 hertz, and it's being rolled off too early. Like, so I think there's going to be bugs like this going on all the time with detecting the actual sub's performance. So this is my setup. So everything gets locked in at 80 hertz. And again, the reason I'm showing this as well is because the calculations, like it's actually doing now, are new. So enable high pass filter. For now, I'm not going to mess with this. I don't know how things have been improved and how it's really working yet for the high force custom high pass and low pass. From what I saw in 6.4, was it 6.4 or 6? One of them, one of the updates did improve the way this system works from my last video. So I think definite, instead of essentially going up, it actually is rolling off now. So yeah, but for now, this is pretty basic. Like, this is a pretty generic setup for me. Like, this is how my standard setup is: plus 6 dB boost. Everything is locked in at 80 hertz, and you enable all pass filters. Enable all pass filters is basically, let's just get going, because then I can talk and do this. Okay, so REW, let's load my measurements in. Alright, there they are. And we'll put this in. Alright, so I'm a fiend for double checking, so 80, 80, 80, 80, all pass filter. That's it, plus 6. I mean, for me, this is basically, from a standard point of view, if you didn't want to get too far into customization, this is the best setup you can go for, in my opinion. OCA won't tell you that. You know, he'll say that it is better to, you know, really pick your crossover point, but oh, wait. Oh, no target curve. Okay, one sec. Yeah, I was messing around with this yesterday, so wrong one. Music, movies. Let's do movies. And it just goes. That's cool. I'll do like that. Oh god. All right, so I've kept this pretty big so you guys can see this. And what's going on with the new version. This type of calculation that is going on now with the subs did not exist in 6.3. So, alright, so here we go. So basically, it's generated 1,008 tasks. And what it's doing now is going over all of these tasks. I'm assuming what this is doing is it is working out the best range of your subwoofer, how things are crossing over, all of this type of thing. At least I think, unless this is just doing tasks to literally work out the performance of your sub. It may be that. But they've only just, here, OCA has only just added this in anything above 6.3. Plus now we have a different way of volume matching, balancing the speakers. And I've noticed, not on movies, but on my music calibration, that I have to actually lower the subs now in volume. So I've gone above what I can. But what happens now is Acoustica can actually lower the volume in the EQ itself. That's actually what I used to do as well. Is instead of, say, bringing down like levels, let's say I had to bring something down by 6 dB, you actually bring things down by 8 dB and make all of your cuts 2 dB more than they actually should be to bring the actual levels down. So I'm actually measuring through as well my 4K player today. I can't be bothered anymore, like almost like getting the HDMIs like ready and stuff. I just want to like get into doing things faster, and I'm like, I can't be back around there doing HDMIs and all this type of stuff. I could have a HDMI already ready to go and then I just pull it out, but yeah, so I'm just going to run through this anyway on disk. I'm using the Spatial Audio Calibration Toolkit, so yeah. So again, it's working out sub performance, I assume. Now it says here the best frequency range here is 8 Hertz to 250 Hertz. Well, there's no way I would want my subs to perform all the way to 8 Hertz, I tell you that. There's no way. And again, this is why custom high and low pass filters may be necessary if this, if Acoustica cannot truly, I guess, diagnose your system and evaluate it properly. So, all right, so it's getting to 1,008 tasks, and now it's ready to go. So it does take longer. The last time, or the first time this was introduced, it was 6 minutes. I guess we'll see what that is now. So, and that is basically it. Like every time a new update comes out, I'm putting my measurements in, I'm letting it run. I listen to it for like a couple of days, evaluate it, I guess you could say, like just listening with it versus previous versions. In all honesty, I think going from say 6.4 to 6.5 and like these other updates, I think so far 6.3 has probably sounded the best. So if I was you and you didn't really know what version to like go for, sure, you can always use the latest version. It's probably going to be the safest, but without all of this like subwoofer filtering and like a lot of this bass thing that's going on right now, 6.3 for me was pretty safe. Like it was, one way to look at this as well is, I don't know if like OCA actually wants to do this, is think of some versions that he's releasing as an actual beta test for kind of like a wide release. I don't know if he wants to go into that or everything is essentially just a beta test. But 6.3 to me felt like a wide release because for me it was relatively, well, for me it was bug free. You would still have issues sometimes with sending crossovers to the receiver that won't go through right. The low pass filter for LFE, sometimes that wouldn't go through right. But for me, I have like issues with that all the time. So from one version to the next, most of that sometimes doesn't really improve. What has improved though lately is getting the crossovers to send to the receiver and go through properly. That's been good. But I always check my settings anyway, so from version to version, I'm hoping that is trying to be improved all the time, but I double check those all the time anyway. Now, as you can see here, the LFE has been picked as 250 Hertz. So if you know me, there's no way I'm going to put the low pass filter for LFE at 250 Hertz, because you can localize bass in the LFE channel. So yeah, there's no way. So subwoofer. Let's just see if there are any changes, like from 6.6 and that. So it's getting all my settings right. Everything's locked in at 80 Hertz. So we're doing a 6 dB boost. So everything's basically the same from like when I really got my measurements perfect, probably around 3 to 4 weeks ago now. The differences between both subs are essentially zero. The relative difference between both of them, because I went pretty nuts on trying to get the volume right for these measurements. So if you haven't updated for a while, there's this new loudness levels ISO. I don't really know much about this, to be honest. There's certain things that I really just go hard on, and other things that I kind of just don't care about. So this is like kind of one of them. Like if one day maybe I'll go into it and like really trying to find out like how this is. I think it is how frequencies are heard at certain volume levels compared to others. But I'm sure somebody will say in the comments like what this truly is. One thing I'll tell you, it has lowered the average volume of the the average volume of the entire sweeps, probably by about 1.5 dB. Like everything has been lowered by that. So if I was averaging, or I had an average volume of around 74, now it's more like 72, 72.5, something like that. And that's all of the levels being brought down into that. So yeah, the final target level is 72.7. So it brings all of the levels of all of the channels and everything to that level with these calculations. So now, just to talk about this, I was having some... I had to double check these calculations because in Multi-EQX, the PC app, it doesn't actually work this way. So what OCA is doing is he's put in, say, my front left channel here to -3. Then he's put in a hack in where you put like say negative 0.08 to get to 9.91. And I just wanted to check the actual math on this, like to see if that was correct, and it is. Math is correct and on all of this, and it works out correct. And maybe because these are negative numbers, I was getting like things like skewed around. But actually, it probably is. It's probably because they're negative numbers that I was like, yeah, that's not actually right. But yeah, let's get going. So yeah, this is new. This is all new now. And again, I think it is to truly evaluate your subwoofer's performance where it rolls off. So, and again, because of this calculation, now we can see this. This is now optimized for the subwoofer that I have. Now it's going to 14 Hertz. Now previously, before all of this was done, it was 16, and I don't really like going down this low. I wouldn't like to use a high pass filter that low into the frequencies. I want to cut off earlier. Now having this evaluated this way is completely fine for normal people that just listen to their movies at a moderate level. But this is why the custom settings, I think, are going to be more meaningful for like people that really want to go after a specific sound and listen to movies as well at a particular volume. So yeah, so 14 Hertz, and again, it's picked 250 Hertz. The reason it's picked 250 Hertz is because that is the performance of my subs. Now, we'll be able to see if this is actually correct, 14 Hertz. I wonder if we can, wait, let's see. Okay, so the calculation looks better than it did yesterday. So wait, final. Yeah. Yesterday, this did not look like this on 6.5. It was bad. It was all over the place. Even in this calculation screen. I was like, something's wrong here. And then there was an update again this morning. So 250 Hertz. So these are the filters it's actually putting in. Okay. So do I have the original? Is that the original performance of both subs? It says SW1, but I think I think that's combined. I mean, when you look at this, you often think like, how are we going to actually get good performance out of these subs, or the bass in this room when you have something like this, and then it can do that. You know, it's really impressive. And even this gap here, this dip, has been severely minimized. Now, I'm assuming to get that, there might be some boosting going on. I've picked a plus 6 dB boost, but there could also be a lot of phase changes going on at this point. I mean, you can see from here to here and here to here, it's flipping phase. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, like this part here and this part here, it's flipping phase. So the fact that OCA can get it this tight with only 6 dB boost as well is really good. This type of thing, if you can't correct with phase, then you know it really is not worth chasing. This is why I went to 6 dB boosts as well. Okay, so enough chat for a sec. Let's have a look. Now people have said like this web interface doesn't always tell the truth. I personally have not seen where it has lied to me. I have not seen that. Now is this is at 120 Hertz. Now this is a situation again, this is another bug where the low pass filter for LFE should be at 250 Hertz. That's what it's saying here, and it says in the log, but it's not doing it. Oh, I haven't sent it yet. Good point. Yeah. All right. You got to send it first. This is just standard. I don't need to rename this. Yeah, it would be smart if I sent this first rather than saying it was wrong. Harman Movies, June 4th. Yeah, let's go. Let's just send it. Preset 1. Okay. Get that sent. And if the bass levels are decent, my mic is not quite in the same position. Like, it's not absolutely exact. So when you are remeasuring from a single source point, there could be minor differences from one day to the next, right? That's why you want to do measurements, calculations, and everything all in the same session. So then you can really truly evaluate what happened, rather than, hey, I uploaded the file, and then tomorrow morning I'll put my microphone in and then test. It's really, you've got to doing it that way. You have to really make sure your mic is in exactly the same position. I mean, I literally measure on a board exactly where things are. But even today, I didn't really do that. I just kind of set it up pretty... I got the height right of the microphone. It's generally in the right position, but it may not exactly measure the same. So, all right, that has sent. So let's refresh this. Crossovers are 80. I want to see if the low pass filter updated. It did. All right. So now this is set to 250 Hertz. So I don't know how I feel about this. And I don't know how I feel about Acoustica setting this to 250 Hertz in the first place. I think sub-performance should be measured, calculated as if it was 250 Hertz. So it got this, basically this, calibrated, and everything's following your target as though it was, say, at speaker level for a crossover. So it made sure everything was calculated and EQ'd perfectly like this. But then when Acoustica is finished, it still sets the low pass filter back to 120 Hertz. That's what I think it should do. Right now, what seems to be happening is it's calculating the performance of the sub, which is all the way up to 250 Hertz, but there's nothing inside it to say, yeah, sure, it can do this, but in the subwoofer itself, in the sub channel, it should be set to 120 Hertz, because anything over 120 Hertz, even I can localize in the sub channel. We're not talking about crossovers here either. We're talking about in the actual sub channel itself. So previously to 6.3, or going into 6.4, it would set the low pass filter to 150 Hertz, just generically, all of the time, to 150 Hertz. I would then manually go in and just change it back to 120. And the reason is because when I listen to Tenet, or watch Tenet on 4K Blu-ray by Christopher Nolan, there's parts of the bass that I can just localize. If you can tell that, with bass, here's, in my opinion, this is how bass in a movie theater should work, or in a movie, your movie room should work. You're listening to music or you're listening to a movie, and you think the bass is coming from your two mains. When you've done that, I forget, I don't know where I'm going with this, but that's what I want from bass. I do not want to tell. If I can tell that it's coming from two boxes in the corner of my room, I'm done. There's no way I'm doing that. And this I will be able to tell. Why? Because the roll-off is not in place right now. There is a roll-off from Dolby, and all Dolby Atmos mixes have the roll-off in place, so you could say, well, if they're a good sound engineer, you shouldn't be able to hear it. That's probably somewhat true as well. Or not necessarily a good sound engineer, but they've done their checks. How this bass and things should roll off. Sure, yeah, this could just be set to 250 hertz, and you allow the sound mixers and that to really manage that. But I want to be 100% sure. I don't want to hear anything. It's the same with the 80 hertz crossover. This all goes hand in hand for me. 120 hertz on the actual LFE channel itself, 80 hertz on the speakers, and the high pass filter for like cutting the sub off, that needs to be in place as well. So, because again, there's a point now where I actually don't want to hear the subs, and what I mean by that is them bellowing away with frequencies that they have no right in playing. So I'm just going to do a measure. Oh no, my player turned off. Okay, just give me a sec. Now some people on the Facebook group, I see some of them say that, hey, I don't seem to be able to localize bass when I put it to say 120 hertz or whatever, or when they're at higher frequencies than that. Now, one thing to think about is how many subs do they have. With 2, I can localize bass, but if you had 4 subs, now like 2 behind you, 2 in front, now you may not be able to localize the bass so much because you've got bass reinforcement from 4 essentially different objects or places in the room. Whereas with 2, I can, and especially that they're in front of you, I'm really sensitive to where that bass is coming from. And again, if I can't tell where bass is coming from, that's the best setting. So an 80 hertz does that every single time. All right, impulse response. I'm just going to sweep the front right channel. Actually, that will be 80 hertz. It doesn't matter. Let's just sweep that now. That sounded a little low to me. Oh, it's at 80. It's at 80. I mean, to me, that looks really good. Again, the mic could be in a slightly different position. But, yeah, that looks good. And again, considering the mic could be in a slightly different position, it's got the final done really well, and again the previous version did not do that. So the levels look actually to be about luckily correct. Let's pull all this out. So subwoofer final versus what I'm measuring. Okay, somehow the levels are correct. I didn't even mean to do that. I just lowered it because I thought it was too high. So this is with an 80 Hertz crossover. And as you can see, it's not starting the 80 Hertz crossover at 80 Hertz. It's starting it before. Then the speakers roll into this. And that they almost do the exact opposite. So, I mean, to me, this looks better than it did yesterday. And considering the mic is in a different position, this is very, very good. Now what I'll do is I'll just open it up. I'll open the crossover up to 250 Hertz. Okay, that went through nicely. And we'll just do another sweep. Now I expect that this should be roughly the same. It will probably curve down a little here. Let's press this. It takes a little time with this disc to get it going, but okay. It's actually higher. That can come out. So yeah, the performance is actually higher than 250 Hertz, 80 Hertz. Well, actually this could be higher because I'm sweeping through a speaker, not through the sub channel itself. So that could be that too. Why don't I sweep through the sub channel? Now I think this is 10 dB louder on this disc. Oh, I'm going. We're at 250 Hertz for the LFE channel. That's 10 dB louder, I can definitely tell. Yeah. Sub channel. $250. You could put a bias on here, -10. So let's see if it's the same. No, it's the same. So the sub channel and the speaker sweep are exactly the same. Good to see. Okay. So now performance of the sub. Has it done what I think it should? Let's have a look at this. Do I have a sub measurement? Final calibration. Yeah. Let's pull this in. Okay. So these are my first measurements using Acoustica. Now, as you can see, they were louder, but OCA has fixed that 6 dB problem. But where the subs are actually rolling off, is it the same? Let's see. So let's just pull this out. Clear. I will put a 250 on. target sub. So wait, it's 6 dB low. It's 6 dB, I think. For some reason I can't click on that. It has no smoothing, but okay. That would have been a 150. That looks to me like a 150 hertz. If I do this, select, can I remove the smoothing from just that? Okay. Alright, let's pull the target off because it is on target. I mean, whether it was set to 16 hertz in the calculation on the log screen to 16 hertz, or now it's up to 14, doesn't seem to have affected the roll off here, because one of the reasons is because this is the natural roll off of the sub itself. So whether you set that to 16 or you set it to 14, the performance of the sub's coming down anyway. I think it's just acting almost as a fail-safe. The 14 hertz with a roll-off of 36 dB. Linkwitz Royally 36 dB per octave. What's that, a 6 or a 4? I think that's a number 4. I have a feeling. Oh right, it says there, R4. Okay. So it looks as though the performance of the subs and the actual calculations itself look to me really good. Can I see the where's the 80 hertz one? Yeah, it was a 150. So can I sweep up at 150? Okay, let's sweep at 150. And that should match. Obviously it's going to be louder by 10 dB. All good. Negative 10. Oh, so that was a 120. Let's do another one. Looks about right to me. Wait. It's that one there. Negative 10. I mean, it's probably the mic. It's probably the mic position being slightly maybe different. But it looks like I'm actually gaining a hair more performance just here, which it has to be the mic, I would think. But yeah, so it looks as though my original performance, which was excellent, it's just the levels weren't correct. Like this must have been like Acoustica version 5.4 when I first made sure everything was measured correctly. I took measurements after, the mic was in the same position, everything. That was then. So this is the difference between 6.5 and then, and again, we are not apples to apples because the mic could be, it may not even be centered correctly, right? But generally speaking, we're gaining the same performance as long as or potentially better. I mean, I don't know. Is some of this cleared up? Let me see. Yeah, again, hard to say if it's improved. It actually looks smoother here, but all right, so I would say I'm happy, and again, I'm happy with the generic way of setting Acoustica up with plus 6 dB and locking everything in at 80 Hertz. One of the things to think about, I haven't really talked about this, about locking in at 80 Hertz. Some might say, well, now because you've got Acoustica and you can choose 250 and you can choose 40 Hertz for the speaker ranges to be for the crossovers, wouldn't it make sense now to just allow the system to pick whatever crossover that you have, because it has the capability of doing that? I could argue yes, but I can also argue it actually is now more beneficial to go 80 Hertz. And the reason why is because a program like this can brute force a locked in 80 Hertz crossover. And what I mean by that, it can just knock its head against the wall until it makes 80 Hertz work. So if I said to you, well, the best crossover to use is 80 Hertz because you can now no longer localize your sub, what and how do we achieve that? Well, with a system like Acoustica, you can just bang your head against the wall until it gets it right. That's why I actually now think as well 80 Hertz is the best way to go, because this will automatically do it for you. It will make this work, and the added benefit is you will not localize that bass. So that's another reason why I do it. Again, I can see arguments though for the other way. Well, now you've got this system, just allow it to pick one. Yeah. So now I'm going to basically end the video here, but before I do that, I'm going to cut it, but I'm going to measure and see what we can do with this. These settings here. The Force custom high and low pass filters. Do they work? Do they achieve something that I want to be done, similar to, say, a MINI-DSP, or not? So, again, this is how I would set it up. Everything is going to be exactly the same. Everything's locked in at 80 Hertz. When you are testing things like this, you do not want to change things. Everything wants to be the same as you've always been doing, so you can truly get an idea of what is changing when. So that's it. That was my standard settings with the all pass filter enabled. Now we're going to force this. Now, if this was a MINI-DSP with my subs, I would set this to 18. I would use a Butterworth 8, which is the strictest filter you can use if you really just want to quickly see this. No. There's another update for this. MINI-DSP. Crossover. 18 Hertz, Butterworth. Why is 18 Hertz? Oh, that's a Liquids. So Butterworth. Okay. So, but this is what the filter would look like. This is what it is. This is the strictest filter, the sharpest filter that you can use to cut your subs off. Can Acoustica do that? Now, if however many improvements that OCA is going to apply to this, over time it's going to improve and get better and better and better. But for me, if I still don't get what I want, and that is essentially to have a filter like this at the end of my EQ, I want my subs to roll off. Not actually, I don't even want them to roll off. I want them to almost stop playing, because I don't like hearing my subs play signals or frequencies that low. I can hear the sub sometimes when it's going too deep, and my walls and my room can as well. So I want to control it. That's really the whole point of this. So far, a MINI-DSP can achieve what I want, but can Acoustica do it? I don't know. And the reason I don't know is because I've even tried creating filters that sharp in Odyssey by itself without a MINI-DSP, and it did tend to struggle. And it's because the resolution of Odyssey in bass frequencies, you don't have the resolution to do it, whereas in a MINI-DSP you do. You can apply this filter. A filter this sharp can be applied. In a Denon and Marantz receiver with Odyssey, you can't do that. Now you can use an equivalent of a Butterworth 36. I think it's a 36. 36 is 6. Yeah, it's number 6. It can do this, which if OCA could achieve that, a Butterworth 36, and I could just put it maybe at 20 hertz, because obviously the filter's not as sharp. So if I could put that at 20 hertz and get roughly the same performance, didn't have to run through, say, a MINI-DSP, I'd be pretty happy with that, right? But I don't think it can do filters that sharp. Even though, look here, there is an option for it, I don't think it can do it. Maybe this is OCA, so he's probably going to find a workaround for it. So I'm going to test this. I'm going to run this. I'll cut it and then we'll measure it. Okay, that just finished. Much faster. I just realized. I guess it's because it doesn't have to do the sub calculation. The performance of the sub. I locked it in, so 18 hertz at and 120 hertz. So let's see. Right, so user override, high pass filter, 18 hertz, Butterworth 8, which is the maximum, and a low pass filter, 120 hertz, LR4 roll off. What's that? 24 dB, I think. We are still lucky in the sub volume range. We're not maxed out. It says it will be negative 12. I'll have to check that. So yeah, it's so basically when you pick your if you're overriding with the custom setting, obviously the calculation from Acoustica doesn't have to be applied, and you're back to what, 2.5 minute. It took, like, I went to the bathroom while and by the time I'd come back it had almost finished, and I was like, whoa, because typically they're taking around 6 minutes now with this with that calculation. So good to know. Well, what has gone through, we will have to find out. Crossovers didn't go through. Wait. Actually, I'm doing that thing again, and I didn't send it through. Okay, yeah. we've got to send it first. Okay, so it actually says here as well what the settings, BU8, subwoofer roll-off. Okay, so number 1, preset 1. Okay. Now, the custom setting may only be needed for movies. May only be needed for movies. And the reason I say that is because movies generally go a lot deeper than music does. Music a lot of the times is in like the 60s and the 40 hertz region. Even some of the bass music I listen to, it can go deep, but a lot of the times it actually doesn't. You could still have really good bass in the 40s and the 60 hertz, 80 hertz, you know, region. All right, that's sent. Let's see, shall we? Crossovers, 80. Low pass filter, 120. Is there anything else I need to check? Negative 12. Okay, so it's using the entire amount. Let's do a sweep and see if this has changed. To be in all fairness, even if it's just a little bit, it may be enough for me. I can watch some movies and just give it a check. How much louder am I? Actually, it doesn't matter, does it? I can volume match. What was the difference? Because to me that doesn't look like 6 dB, so... I'm gonna volume match. So wait, blue, yeah, it's rolling, it is rolling off earlier. It's not by much though. After a rebalance as well, that like matching volume like I just did, that could throw it off, but I can see that these peaks aren't as high. But after this point, like there, up to around 12 hertz, it's still kind of rolling off in the same way. Maybe this is enough. So blue is the version I just swept, and it does look as though it is rolling off just slightly earlier. Now, one of the things to think about again with Odyssey is resolution. It doesn't have the resolution that a MINI-DSP has, so I will give this, say, a listen and see how it is. And if there's just no workaround for Odyssey just having what I want, this is not just an Acoustica problem, this is an Odyssey problem, and it's probably a lot of room correction softwares out there, is how much resolution do you have in bass, you know? Now the thing is with the MINI-DSP, well, at least a 2x4, right? A 2x4, well actually I don't know how much a 2x4 is. I thought there was only $250, but maybe I'm totally out of it, right? But the one I bought is the SHD. Yeah, the SHD here, because it had XLRs. This was $1,000. So, you know, do you want to pay anywhere from $250 to maybe $500 on, say, the 2x4, just so your subs roll off properly? That's up to you, right? For me, if I absolutely cannot get it with Acoustica and Odyssey itself, then I will go through a MINI-DSP just for that reason. Just to already use a crossover like this, Butterworth 48. Use that filter, or like have it in place already. Now, when you put filters like this in place, it's going to change phase. But the thought process here is to let Acoustica run and see if it can phase, see if it can iron out all the phase problems as well. If it can do that, and I get the sound that I want, then for me, it's money well spent. If I don't need a MINI-DSP anymore, and this 18 Hertz BU8 filter with Acoustica and everything is enough, then fine. You know, it doesn't matter. For me, what matters is that I want to get the sound and the bass just as I want, so it doesn't destroy my room as well, and the subs don't sound as though they're playing signals that they shouldn't be playing. This might be enough. Hopefully it is. So yeah. That is a quick look at 6.6. I just thought I'd do a video, and you know, 6.6 was out. How are you getting on with Acoustica? What's your best version? And again, I think if you don't like some of the changes that are coming out here from 6.3 and above, you know, even the EQs and things like that, they're taking too long and things like that, and you don't want to do any of this, I would just go to 6.3, which didn't have any of the volume balancing, and it didn't have any of the subwoofer analysis, I guess you could say. It doesn't have any of that. So 6.3 essentially had the sound quality locked in. It was basically, for me, it was pretty much perfect at that point. But we're now getting into subwoofer analysis with these future updates. It looks to me as though 6.6 is a very good update from that point of view. Whereas 6.5 I tested yesterday, it was like, was not good at all. This is again the beauty of Acoustica, is from week to week it changes, and there are things being added and improved all of the time. Now, OCA said here in the log, if I can get to it, that most of the bugs should be ironed out now, but I'm sure some people are going to find some things that don't work, or still improvements can be made. So actually I can't get into this, so but yeah, that's a look at 6.6. and again, yeah, how are you getting on with it? And so far I'm really enjoying it. Always keep your folders. I have 6.4 here. I was running tests on 6.4 with all the things. 6.3 here. I can always go back to that. Now thinking about 6.3, before these changes were made, I was doing the custom settings then, 18 low pass filter at 250 Hertz for different reasons. But now thinking about it, this on 6.3, these actually don't work. These custom high and low pass filters don't actually work properly. So if I wanted to use 6.3 again, I would just run it in a standard mode without the custom settings even involved, because they didn't get it right. So always keep the best version that you've got in a folder somewhere. And for me, 6.3 right now is a good fallback to, hey, I didn't like 6.4 or 5 or even 6. 6.3 sounded very, very good. And for now, I could probably take the too much bass in the below 20 hertz. I can probably be okay with it for now. If these future versions had issues or sound and things that I didn't like. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, have a good day and thanks for watching. Bye.